Hello everyone, welcome to this masterclass. My name is Abhishek Goyan. I'm a senior full stack developer with over 11 years of experience. I'm primarily into front-end development. In this class, we'll learn React.js, Next.js, and we'll learn how to create a basic application with MongoDB, and then we'll publish that application to Google Cloud Run. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so first let's understand React. On ProCodebase, I have created one course on React.js, so you can go through this course. This is regarding mastering the React concept, so you can learn. Like if you are completely new, you can learn what is React.js, what is the component architecture, how the JSX syntax should be, what is virtual DOM, what is unidirectional data flow, state, and props. And here is some basic example. So you go through these fundamentals, and in this session, we'll not cover these fundamentals. You can take this course and go through this. And then if you have some sound knowledge of React.js, you can move to Next.js. So for Next.js also, we have created one course. So you'll learn what is server component, what is client component, how do we fetch the data, what is the route handler, what is server action. So these things you can learn async. Now I'll come back to setting up your Next.js environment. So we'll create one project. In this project, so we'll connect with MongoDB. We'll fetch some list of users. After that, we'll build that project, and then we'll publish it to Google Cloud Run. And during this, I'll explain some of the fundamentals. That is why I'm not going into the React and Next.js fundamentals. So along with this application development, I'll explain some of the fundamentals. Yeah. So first of all, in order to install, you need to do npx create next app latest. So this is the command. You can find it on Next.js website. So here you can go to your documents directory. Here look npx create next app latest. Okay, now hope you can see it better. So first is, as soon as you run this, you will see what is your project name. Let's say I gave my, okay. Would you like to use TypeScript? Yes. ESLint? Yes. Tailwind CSS? Yes. SRC directory? Yes. So you can keep all them default. App router is also default. Yes. Servo? No. This you can keep yes, and then just enter. So now it is creating your project. So it's installing all these packages, and then your boilerplate is there. So we'll go through that. We'll explain the folders. Then we'll start with the simple MongoDB library. We will create one library. Then we'll create a couple of routes. We'll create pages. So you'll have some understanding of what a server component, what is the client-side component, how do we fetch the data. So I'll explain you on those things in Next.js. So now you need to go to that folder, and here you can do this window, I guess you can close. So this is your project. So here you see the public folder. Your public folder has these couple of SVG images. SRC folder has app directory, means this is app router project. App is having fonts and a couple of layouts, pages, an ESLint file, Git file, package file, what all packages right now we have. And Tailwind related configurations are here. TypeScript related configurations are here. Then what happens? This is the home page. So home page is using the layout, which is this layout. Okay. So layout means HTML, then body, and ending the body, ending HTML. Now within this, childrens are loaded in. So this is like HOC in the React. You can learn what is HOC, a higher order component. So like all childrens are passed here, which can be rendered here. So it's kind of wrapper component, which is nothing but a layout in this. And it has to be root layout. This is root level project layout. So it's called root layout. Now the pages has to be just, the components. So this is one component, home component, and which is nothing but a function. So it returns JSX, return JSX. JSX is what? JSX is mixed with HTML and some JavaScript within this. Mixed together is a JSX. So here, let me remove this. You can just keep one div. Okay, now we'll add a couple of folders. So app folder, anything you put inside app folder becomes a directory, becomes a path and route. So we need to create under SRC, one folder is library. Then under SRC, we can have another folder like types on interface. So we'll create that. First, we'll add library. library will add MongoDB. Okay, so I'll just copy the code from my current project. Okay, so I'll explain you this. So as you can see, this requires MongoDB package. So let's install this. Npm install MongoDB. So first we are importing MongoDB client, and in the process environment, like we need to create one file here, process environment. So we can create here on dot. So in this, we need to give MongoDB connection URL. So like this, MongoDB URL. Now you need to give the full URL. So how do we get that URL? How do we create MongoDB instances? So I'll quickly show you. Second. So here you can search MongoDB Atlas. So on MongoDB Atlas, you can create one instance, which is free instance, which you can use for your learning purpose. With your Google account, you can create one. So here first, you will create a cluster, then we'll create a database. So cluster will be shown here. Just a second. Yeah, so cluster is this ProCodebase stage is a collection cluster. So you can hit create cluster and you can give it a name, or you can select a free version. So right now I like already used free quota. So but you will see one free, you can select M0, give it a cluster name, select the region and everything, and just create the deployment. It will create the cluster. After creating cluster, you need to create a database. So here it will show up like this. Then you can do browse collection. In this collections, you can do the create a database from here. Give it a database name, collection name. You can give test for now and create on this particular database. And after creation, you will get a connection link, which like click on this, select driver, Node.js, MongoDB we are using. So you get this connection string. You need to copy this connection string full to that place. So I'll close this now. Yeah, you need to copy this, but this does not have, password for this user. So like you will create a user with this name and you will provide the password. So user is already there. You just reset the password. So for now, I'll put the password here. Okay. So that password I have put. Now you see if it is not there in environment variable, it will show this particular error. So we are reading that URL and one client promise we have created. So here you see if it is a dev environment, we are creating this line number 19, which is Mongo client. We pass that URI, that connection string with couple of options. So we get client. When we do client.connect, it will give us promise. You see here, this returns promise of Mongo client. So we are just keeping the promise. So promise are kept in this particular global variable. And if it is not development, then we directly having it in this particular variable, it will remain. So now we are exporting this client promise. So this code you understood. Now let me create other file. So now we'll create one type file. For that, we will create one folder types, and in this we'll create one file user.ts. So what happens? So from MongoDB, we are importing object ID. So Mongo has like underscore ID, which is nothing but object ID. Then we have name, email, created. All these fields are there. We are just keeping them. So one model is user model. Then you need create model, update, and API response model. So API response will come always like data. If there's any error, then it will show error. If message, then message will be shown. So we created one particular format, like how our API will return the data. So that is this particular format it will return to. Now let me quickly create so under this app, I'll create one API. So you know that React.js is a full stack framework, means you can do front end as well as back end within this. So I'll create APIs. So you need to give the same name API. Now we'll give route.ts. So we'll create a route. Okay, but we need to create a folder users, then route. So let's create one folder here, users. Then I'll move this file to here. So API will be like /user/route. So I'll just take the route. I'm just adding only one route for now, which is get users. So I'll explain you this code. So what happens? Next.js provides us next response, next request, and then we already have this type. We have this from Mongo client. Okay, we'll just put it this way for now. We'll import it. Okay, now get API. So it will do users/ if somebody does, it will call this API. Okay. This API has client promise to MongoDB. Now it is connecting to that particular database, staging database. And then we have their users table is there. From users table, we are finding elements sorting by like created on, give me only 10 records, make it to array. And then those 10 users will be returned in form of JSON, Next.js response.json, like this we return. If any error, then it will return that particular error as well as status 500. So this is one API we created in Next.js, which returns 10 users. Okay. Now, how do we consume this API here itself? So first we need to add a route. So under this app, if you add a folder as a users, and then this is now we are doing server side component in Next. So we need to add here page.tsx. Okay. Now I'll just take it this thing. So what I'm doing here is, so first we are adding one component. Okay. So this is server component. So server component is making one API call, which is get users. So I go to get users. So get users is nothing but API call, which is returning promise of array of users. Now here you see this API call. So it will go to API folder, then users folder, and it will hit that particular endpoint. Cache no store means every time it will fetch the latest data. If there is some error, fail to fetch the users, and whatever data comes, we pass it like await response.json means data will be given here. And the data we know that we format we created the API response.data. So it's that data. That is why we have done data.data. So after that we got users. So now we are just creating one division in that, first is we have put one heading, then we have put suspense. Suspense is reason of putting suspense is user list might get some time to get the users from MongoDB and rendering it. During that time, it will show the suspense, which is fallback, loading users. Okay. So that is the purpose of suspense. Now we have this users list. So user list, we are passing users. So users list is another one component we created, which takes a list of users. It maps through, and then what all information we want to show, we can show it here. So, okay, this is clear. Now let's build this project. So how do we do that? npm run dev. So this is running for dev mode. If we are doing build means we have to do build. So let's run in dev mode. So now I click on this. So this is homepage which we have cleaned up. Now we have to do /users. So /users. So if we do /users, it is showing us like this, all the users with when they joined and all. So this information is being shown. Okay. So now let me explain this full thing again, what all we did. So first we created a MongoDB file. So we import this package from their Mongo client. Now Mongo client, we can do new.mongo client with URI, which we got from Mongo Plus with some options. Now we got client. Now we can do client.connect. So it gives a promise. So we are just keeping the promise, means we have not made the connection yet. So, but we have the promise. So we promise we are keeping. Now actually we created model. So model is like same what we have in database, the structure, that model we can create here. And we have created one API response model. After that, we created API route, which is get all users basically. So it's not all the users, because we have set the limit of 10. So it will give top 10 users from this list. So we do like client.db, but you see here we have put await with that promise, means now we actually made the connection, and we can do client.db, db name, we got the db, and then we can do db.connect, db.connection, this users, we got the list of users, and we pass it as a next response.json data.users. So this much is clear, right? So now we'll consume this API in this server component. So first we created users page as a server component. We are getting the list of users. Now these users data we are passing here, which is another component, which is mapping them and rendering them in the complete basically list format. Okay, so this is application we created. Now let's build this. So we'll do npm run build. Okay, there are some errors, so let's fix them. So in this file at the top, I just added the tslint no var off. for now. Now let's fix the other problem. So here I remove this and the routes. And the routes you can remove this. Okay, now let's try to build this. Okay, so now build is going through. Now we'll publish it to Git. So like this particular thing, we can just select and commit. Okay, we'll create one new repo quickly. ProCodebase, my next app. It's a public. Okay, so this repo is created. Now it's saying create a new repository on command line or push an existing repository from command line. So we can undo this. Okay, second command is git branch -m main git push permission to this is denied to Abhishek Goyan. Okay, so now we'll make Abhishek as a collaborator on this. So we can go to collaborator in add people. Here we can put, okay. Now I need to accept this a second. So you'll get an email and there you can go and accept this particular. So I have accepted that. Now I can retry this. Okay, now you see that it got pushed. I'll come back here. I'll see my code is here. Now we will link this particular repository in our Google Cloud. So we'll go to Google Cloud Console. So here we have one service which is a Cloud Run. So we'll create a new service. Already we have 3 services for ProCodebase. I'll create a new. We'll create a service and we want to do it from Git. So we'll just select the Git setup cloud build. So it will pick that particular repository here. So we have this my next app. I understand this next. Yeah, so we are picking from main branch and we don't have Docker file. So we just create with this. Okay. And then we just save this. Now build trigger has been created. So every time you push to your Git, it will trigger a build. It will generate one Docker file which will get deployed into this Cloud Run. So Cloud Run is a container service, like creates a container, Docker container. It will spawn that container over the VM. So that's the Cloud Run services. So whenever your service is in use, it will charge based on that. If not used means you can keep a minimum number of instances 0. So it won't charge you. So now for this application, I just do allow an authentication invocation true. So your traffic or public API website traffic, it will allow. So CPU is allocated only during request processing. Minimum number of instances you can keep 0. And then you have some configuration. You can set the port, but leave it 8080 for now. And then here you can select the memory and CPU, how much is required, how much concurrent request per instance, what is the request time you can give here. So always keep minimum number of instance 0, because if you keep 0, your website is not serving any traffic, means will not get any charges. And whenever somebody will start using your website, it will recreate that instance and it will serve from that. So within 1 or 2 seconds only it creates. So your user will not see that website is taking a lot of time. So you will save money also on this, and you are not spoiling the experience of user. So you just create this. So it will take some time. After that, it will generate a URL which you can use. And if you have some domain, you can configure DNS as well here. So after this gets created, this URL you can access. With this URL, you can use your application. Here you see manage custom domain. So from here, you can create a mapping. So which mapping to my next app. And then let's say you have taken a domain from GoDaddy or somewhere, you can just select that provider and map that domain. So that will make a DNS connection with this. So this is about creating Cloud Run instances and publishing your code to Git. Now every time you publish code here, it will create a build, and that you see one build is created. So click on this dot and here you will see one build is in progress. So from here you can see summary. If you want more summary, you can go to Google Cloud Run build. So your actual build is happening in Google Cloud. It will generate a Docker file which will be uploaded to Cloud Run, the service instance which you have created. So this explains how you create a Next.js application, push it to GitHub, then publish it to Cloud Run. So this covers your full thing. Now it will take some time. Once it is come, you can access the URL. So this code part you are able to understand. Now my request is that this is just to show you the full flow, how you can start with this, create some small application with the help of Mongo. And Here, Next.js is a full stack platform, right? So you can have APIs also as well as front end code also within this. And so you can check out courses on Next.js and React.js courses for to understand the React.js fundamentals. If you are completely new, you need to go through these courses first, then try out that steps. Yeah, so that's all. And if you are exploring, you can Next.js website. Here also a lot of concepts are there. You can explore. So this mini demo class is basically for explaining like how you can get started with Next.js, what all things you need to learn, and full the cycle of creating Next.js application to publishing Next.js application. It explains that. Okay, so with that, I'll see you in the next class. Thank you. Bye.